Hello and welcome to the Star Citizen News, each week looking at the headlines from the Star Citizen community and then looking more closely at the shows from the week in the weekly review, this time for the week ending the 6th of March 2016. This week's headlines: Star Citizen Alpha 2.2 is live and the February monthly report is out. SC Alpha 2.2 is now live, giving us a host of new features: a flyable saber, hangar-ready giant scout, the new FPS weapons in the mini PU, including a laser rifle and ballistic pistol, a working party system, a reputation system allowing outlaws and basically bounty hunting gameplay, massive performance increases, lots of changes in layout in Port Olisar, physicalized EVA, new FPS animations, the new item system started to be implemented with coolers and shields that have been added. There are still a few bugs in the latest patch, the chief one being a desync issue, meaning sometimes your character isn't where they appear to be when out of the ship. I would expect this to get hotfixed pretty quickly though. If you would like to see an in-depth review of this patch in the patch notes, please check out my video in the description, bam, down below. The February monthly report is out too. This is a huge in-depth report of what all the studios have been up in the previous month. Link to all of that in the description as well. I will be going over it in detail at some point this week in a video, but the report is very heavy on 2.2 information. But there are some other highlights as well. The item system and refactoring of ship masses in there. Levels of detail are discussed. Persistence and the Kasaba clothing store. Lots of stuff about Squadron 42. The Javelin and Idris interior work and the loot system are all big highlights there. It is really worth a read if you're into the development of the game and you want to see where the pledge money is being spent. Let's now, though, take a closer look at the rest of the Star Citizen shows and news in this week's weekly review. In 10 for the Chairman, episode 77, Chris Roberts is back in the saddle, and he gave us a variety of other news and nuggets. In regards to server population, servers are up to 24 players now, and they're working to get more players in the future. In regard to tri-monitor setups, Star Citizen supports triple monitor setups. They're working on improving that experience though. Hangar and planet-side module integration. Everything will be eventually integrated into the mini PU, hangars, landing zones, all the procedural tech, until we have the whole of the Stanton system complete, and then more and more will be fleshed out and built. Your name in game perk. You can submit a character name, real name, or handle for that particular perk. It doesn't have to be a real name, it can be if you want it to be. Carriers. There will be different layouts for carriers and different ways that they do things. The Vandal will launch and recover ships in a totally different way from human ships. We're likely to see a few different types in the way that they work. Procedural tech. Large areas will be procedurally generated, but then there will be some tweaking of flora, fauna and wildlife to make sure that they've got the correct fidelity of what they want. Getting everyone into the same instance. At the moment, there's a party system in 2.2 and a friends list, so you're much more likely to be able to get into an instance with your friends. In the future, a lot of this will be automated. You're likely to be able to see people of interest and your friends in servers that you go into. In 2.2, there is a reputation system, and you can go into the security outpost at Korea to lower it if you've become a criminal when you need to lower your criminal rating. The new Corvette is going to be more economical, so literally smaller and easier to command than an Idris is the idea there. There will be weather systems on planets as well as atmospheric flight at some point in the future. Around the Verse, Season 2, Episode 21 was a fountain of knowledge. Ben and Sandy start off by running through all of the new features from the 2.2 live release, and then around the Verse in a variety of different offices. Los Angeles have been working obviously a lot, as most of the other studios have been, on 2.2 and getting it live. They've also been getting ships ready for the new UIs that they're bringing out. The Caterpillar is in the beginnings of production. They've just finished some design tweaks for the interior. Down in Austin, they're working on the Squadron 42 locomotion sets, firstly for Admiral Bishop, and then that will obviously go to more and more characters. The Friend System 2.0 has been moved onto the UI phase for testing. It's also going to include an ignore list as well that some people might find useful. Foundry 42 UK, they've locked down the EVA and are now moving on to first-person shooter animations and traversal, so we'll see vaulting among other things soon. They're also working on prototyping the health system for players and how injuries will affect you. The Idris is currently being playtested as well. The Vandal Warrior has been handed off to the character team, and the live team have been breaking down designs for all the other ship mechanics: cargo, mining, fuel, interdiction, all that sort of thing. In the Frankfurt studio, there is still a massive focus on AI. The AI behavior tree is getting a lot of work done to it as well. Subsumption has made good progress too. So this is the system in which AI will act more alive while not in combat. The example given here is an AI hearing a phone, searching for it, then talking to someone. They're very excited because they can have a huge amount of actors doing this and doing various phases of acting like normal humans and getting around with day-to-day tasks, and it only costs a tiny bit of memory. This week's ATV interview was with Pedro Camacho, a music composer for Star Citizen. Pedro is an awesome dude and actually one of my personal heroes. The ATV behind the scenes was more Pedro, the music of Star Citizen, and a recent score session with Pedro Camacho. This week's MVP was the very good INN, the Imperial News Network, for their continued contributions to the Star Citizen community. Check them out for a huge range of written content and transcripts, as well as the occasional podcast and interview with CIG or a community member. This week's art sneak peek was the MISC-reliant UI. It looks amazing. In this week's Reverse the Verse, we learned a lot of new stuff as well. The QA team have been obviously putting lots of work into getting 2.2 out. Even Chris Roberts helped with some of the bug fixing. They began shooting the making of Star Citizen, the documentary that was a stretch goal. The Jean plant has been attributed to all accounts that are supposed to have one. There is some new hangar flare next week as well, which is a totally different plant. Shields are the next new item system refactor that's going to be getting a lot of attention. There will be potentially multiple shields in ships now of various sizes, and they are looking at some major changes to the way that shields work other than multiple shields in each ship. So they're talking about recharge being on a curve, so that being hit by smaller ships and that sort of stuff will hamper your recharge rates a lot more. Pool-based shielding based on all of your shields combined. Scaling ballistic damage and penetration. You might want to turn off your shields briefly to kickstart the recharging process, for example. Shield management will become a lot more effective as well, making shield management an effective job. There is going to be a lot more decision making across the board in both your options and management. With power plants and coolers as well, they talk about later. Each ship can potentially again have multiple coolers and multiple power plants. More powerful plants might give you more power to your weapons and shields, but they will light you up like a Christmas tree for sensors and missiles, and may be more explodey in some situations. We're going to know more about 2.3, the next Star Citizen patch, in a couple of weeks. They talk about the states of various ships. The Endeavour is not currently in active development. It will be in development at some point, but it's not on the schedule at the moment. The Javelin is being put together right now, but will take some time. The Hull series is on a schedule. The Hull A will come out first. The Reclaimer is again on a planned schedule, but hasn't been started yet. The Scout is being worked on to get flight ready at the moment. Work's being done to the Herald. The Reliant is being made hangar ready literally as we speak. Assets are being moved over to the massive Bengal ship for Squadron 42. The Polaris Corvette is currently in its design phase. The Dragonfly will go to concept very soon. There are concepts they are working on for a small mining ship too, and they will continue to work on the Prowler once they have completed more of the Tavarin race. In other news, CitizenCon tickets for Los Angeles have been announced, and they will be going on sale in a couple of weeks' time. There was also an interview from the PC Gamer weekend containing some Squadron 42 spoilers. So I will leave that video in the description for those of you that wish to peruse it. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. That's all I've got time for from the Star Citizen news and weekly review this week. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, it really does help me, and I will see you in the verse.